So, Miss Jackie, you've
Yes.
been so you watched Black Panther. So first off, I gotta say, do the whole Wakandan salute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this led you down an MCU rabbit hole. So this is also gonna be our ElseWords here. We're sort
Okay.
of transitioning, combining the two. So first off, what did you think of Black Panther, and how did this lead you down the rabbit hole?
Holy shit.
And thirdly, welcome. We have cookies.
Oh, oh, awesome. I'll take one. Yeah, I was excited when I heard that they were going to do a Black Panther. And like I was obviously very aware that there was a Black Panther comic out there. And I knew it was Marvel, and I didn't really check into it, and I didn't pay much attention to it. However, I'm also I got my master's degree in history, and particularly Russian and American history, and I focused on like the 60s and stuff. And so I actually met Angela Davis of the Black Panthers. Whatever. She gave me some life advice that I live to today, which is just do it. Just do it. Whatever it is, because people, whatever. And yeah, so the Black Panther movement of the civil rights movement is something like that actually means a lot to me. And so I also learned the backstory of the Marvel comics, which is Marvel had Black Panther. And when the Black Panthers became a movement, they changed his name for a while to Black Cheetah or something.
Black Leopard.
Right.
Leopard?
Yeah.
Yeah, to separate themselves from it, which I think is a shame. So I was really excited. Anyway, so I was really excited about this movie. And when I heard that there was Black Panther, I saw the it was coming out. It's like, oh, they're making another Black Panther movie, because they had one out like in the mid 90s. Or whatever. And I was like, oh, the comic book Black Panther. Okay, well, that's actually pretty cool. I'll check that out. And I was super excited. I saw it, like opening day when I could, as soon as I could. And I cried. I cried like a fucking baby through that movie. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It is some of the best cinematography I've ever seen. And I've got notes here because I wanted to make sure I got them all. Hopefully I have them handy. No, I threw my notes away as I'm talking to you guys. But also the female characters. I have never in the history of film ever seen a movie with so many great, positive, and unique roles for women in one single film ever than has been in this movie of Black Panther. Between Angela Bassett, obviously Denaria, I always pronounce her name wrong, and I should get it right because I call her Michonne, but I do it,
It's Denai Guerrera.
And then T'Chilla's sister. The fact
Shuri
that
is Letitia Wright.
She is the Q of this thing. She is the technology wizard of this. We've got the technology wizard. We've got the warrior. The warrior, and spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, she's the one who makes the decision that, yeah, she loves this guy, but she's going to choose loyalty over it. This is not something women do in any kind of film ever. And they definitely don't do it as a warrior. As a general of an army. So I fucking loved it. I loved that this was like across the board. All these women who played in this film this is not something you see. Like yes, you might get one female character that plays some kind of role that, like, yeah, you're the technology wizard, but yeah, then you still got the mama who just, I'm a mama and I'm just gonna be a mama. But there was none of that in that film. Okay, that number one. Number two, the villain, Killmonger. Mm-hmm. He was amazing, and I 110% agreed with Killmonger. Killmonger, like everything he said, I agreed with. And not only that, the hero, T'Challa, Black Panther, agreed with him. And that's how the story ended. And so that on top of the cinematography, and that was beautiful. And I loved when Black Panther jumped on those cars and like ran around. And the fact that those cars were not even being operated by somebody in the same facility. Like my mind was blown throughout. And finally, the closing credits when they were at the UN and they gave that little speech about how exactly what Killmonger was saying is that we need to bring this to the people or to everyone. We need to now expand our technology and our great resources to save everyone across the planet. I could not, I walked out of there kind of proud with the tears. I was just like, and people were looking at me like, what's wrong with you, you fucking baby? But I was crying my eyes out. I loved it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to start watching all of the other Marvel, the MCU stuff, because there must be something here that I'm missing. There must be another plate. I guess, so I went back and then I started watching. I talked to a friend of mine, and I need to give a shout out to Reese Dunlap, who's the co-host of the RNS podcast with my friend Stacey Baldwin. They're both my co-hosts of Black Mirror. I talked to him and he's like, okay, if you want to go start with the Marvel, I would tell you very next one, go start with Captain America, Winter Soldier, start there. And then he gave me a list and I went back and I did it in his order. And then I kind of mixed around and then I'd already seen some Iron Man, but I started to really, really kind of enjoy it in a way I never thought I would, because I never enjoyed the fact that they had like an individual film and then they would do a war and then another war and war beyond the war to fight the next war. And let's have a civil war, but let's have a war that makes more wars and then less wars. I that's the thing that I don't like about Marvel.
You're not far off. Marvel has things that it goes back to all the time, with war being a theme. Infinity War, Civil War 2, all that stuff. DC does it with Crisis a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Secret
Fair
War,
enough.
Marvel. So they have their titles. What is more interesting is how they take those things, though, and they turn them into something different and something better suited towards the films than what they were from the actual original comics. Because the comics can draw from a lot more history, and you can have 6 to 10 issues of a comic series and tell this story and have it be like a blip on the fucking radar. But in the movie, you've got to make a real impact for the characters, for the audience to resonate, to make them want to go on to the next one. But you're right. The from this to war to war to war to war, it does get a little trepidatious, because how many times can you put the world in absolute danger to have them solve it that you feel like the stakes aren't important the next time? You want to have smaller stories. You want to have smaller battles that are just as important, but aren't world shattering.
Yeah.
So I want to hit on a little bit of, if I can, some of the stuff that you mentioned with your points. So the first point with the women in there, that's actually really big in the Black Panther comics, with the Dora Milaje, to where it's in the original comics it was a woman from each tribe, because I believe Dora Milaje translates as the adored ones, and they were essentially Black Panther's wives, using air quotes around there, but he was not to show favoritism to one, because if he did, the rest would kill that one, or something like that. I forget where I saw that, but I saw it on a YouTube video. But then the second one, with your point on Killmonger, I want to shine a light back on Justice League, because both the villains here don't have a lot of source material. Eric Killmonger's featured in, I think, 3-4 issues of Black Panther. Steppenwolf has been featured in maybe 10 in DC Comics.
Yeah, but he also had a big hit with Born to Be Wild.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was something. Yeah.
But you look at how they were used, where here now you have a great origin story for Killmonger, and justification for why he's wanting to do everything. And Beat pointing out that Killmonger wasn't really a villain in the classical sense, because he wanted to do this because he saw, Wakanda for what it was, of, this technological marvel, and yet what are they doing? They're sitting around twiddling their thumbs, not helping out everyone else.
Well, he was also betrayed by Wakanda.
Exactly.
For his father being killed. What what I'm really admiring, thinking about it more and more, and from Jackie's description, is the thing with Killmonger. It does something that I don't know that I've ever seen in another comic character, at least not that I can think of, which is it makes the hero learn from and be inspired by his villain.
Yes.
It makes that, like, we're used to legacies of, like, my father taught me this, my brother taught me this, Batman taught me to be Robin, those kinds of things. To make the villain, and it shows that what they're interested in is the message, not the means. The means that Killmonger uses what makes him a villain, but the message that he was putting out there was important. It was things that T'Challa was already questioning about himself as it was, but he was so stuck in the living up to his father's expectations, living up in the legacy of being the Black Panther, that he wasn't thinking about the greater good as much. He was beholden to these things. The other part is Okoye, the Denai Guerra's character, very much the Wonder Woman of the Marvel Universe. Establishing this. Her points about loyalty to the Black Panther, to the crown, to the throne, all that stuff. She goes through 2 phases of it because she is constantly loyal, even when it doesn't behoove her to be. It's not just I'm loyal to T'Challa, because when T'Challa is dead and Killmonger has become the new king, she is loyal to the new king. She feels that way. She gets the choice of, like, we're going to escape, come with us. And she says, I can't. This is who I am. Nation. If I am not loyal to, if I'm not loyal to us, then I'm not loyal at all.
I'm loyal to this idea and my people and this thing.
And the only thing that changes is the circumstance of, but T'Challa isn't dead, so Killmonger isn't officially the king. So now I am fighting with T'Challa for the rights. Again, she never changes her perspective. It's the circumstances around her change, but she is 100% true to who she is from beginning to middle to end. And even again, she says, I will not put you, to her husband, above what I am here to be for this land, for this country, for these people. And that is so inspiring and amazing. And to see that reflected in her character.
Female character.
And that's another thing.
She's not the only one. She's not.
And that's the beauty of this.
Female character in this film.
One of the big complaints.
Many. She's one of all.
Yeah, one of the big complaints that Kevin Feige has received. Yeah, Feige has received a lot of complaints. Like you mentioned earlier, there has not been a Black Widow movie yet. So DC got ahead of the game by doing the Wonder Woman movie and doing a fantastic Wonder Woman movie. And I don't want to take anything away from them. But Marvel did something very strange. They introduced the first Black superhero movie, not including Blade, of this magnitude, Black director, Black actors all the way through, 2 white people in this movie. And then on top of that, and made it about the entire nation in Africa. But on top of that, had a more powerful female cast of characters than the male cast of characters. And that is not to take away from any of the male characters in this. But realistically, you walk out of this feeling
the male characters was still the predominant characters. The female characters were all 100% supporting characters. But you have never seen that many. I don't care if you're talking about Steel Magnolias from the 80s with Julia Roberts or whatever. You have never seen a film that has had so many very unique female characters
and characters that knew who they were from beginning to end. While the main character, while T'Challa struggles with who he is, these characters know 100% who they are and never have to go against their nature and never bend the knee to the man. They support him because that is the nature of who they are. But honestly, they never take away from their abilities, and it's just an incredible film. And that's what I think is the biggest success, is that it's successful in the fact that it is an African-American based movie, but it also is a very strong woman-based movie in many, many ways. And we still get the opportunity to see a Captain Marvel film come out that answers the other question, Marvel's first female-led film. I love every aspect of that.
When they finally get Captain Marvel, as long as they do it okay, as long as it's done well, and, if it's based off of anything that I've seen with Black Panther, it will be. they will have officially kicked DC's ass, which makes me want to throw up because I love DC more.
I love
but,
DC too, and I don't want to see DC get their ass kicked. I just want to see DC get this level.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have said that because like I said, I came into this saying, who cares what you like what you like. Like, there's a lot of DC that I like. There's a lot of DC I don't like. There's a lot of Marvel now that I like, and there's a lot of Marvel I don't like. But, just like what you like and let people like what they like and don't shit, I don't know. So yeah, that's definitely been my thing. So yeah, I appreciate you guys talking to me about that. I'm a novice.
In the Marvel universe, in the other Marvel films, what has drawn you in the most after Black Panther? Obviously, Black Panther was your entry point. You feel very strongly about it. What are the other ones that you're feeling more connected to as well? Is there anything that's like maybe not at that level or close to that level or above it? Where are you landing with these other ones?
Okay, so I went back. I went through all of the MCU films and started as it was suggested with Winter Soldier. And I was like, really? Captain America? Blech. Just the idea of it to me, I was like, who the fuck cares about Captain America? But Captain America might now actually be one of the characters I really enjoy a lot because I finally learned his backstory, which I didn't know, I was unaware of, and I totally get it. I totally get the small dude who had something happen to him and then he became a big dude. But to me, I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. And I definitely like that. And I guess I like Iron Man only because I've always liked Rodney Downey Jr. as an actor. And I especially started to like him more when I found out that he woke up in a child's bed in a neighborhood nearby on a drug binge. You guys remember that? Robert Downey? Yeah, okay. And then then I feel like he plays that Playboy image of Iron Man really well. So I like that. And then the very last one that I went through, because I was going through them by person by person. Actually, I haven't watched the original Hulk with or the 2008 Hulk with Ed Norton yet, only because people were telling me that wasn't part of this, but apparently it is.
It is and it isn't. It's weird. It was an attached film, but because it's not officially Marvel, it's from Universal.
Oh.
But it was their attempt to integrate Hulk into the Marvel film universe very early on, and then of course Ed Norton doesn't come back. We replace him with Banner, but that's fine.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah. Ruffalo. Sorry.
Yeah, and I enjoy him, and I've always liked him as an actor as well, and kind of like the little Scarlett Johansson or the Black Widow Hulk little romance thing going. I think that's kind of cute, but whatever. But all of that crap is bullshit. But the one that I held out on the most was Iron Man, and I just saw nothing appealing about Iron Man, and I did watch Ragnarok first, and then I went back and watched the others, and I don't know. I feel differently. I like Iron Man. Okay. I don't know. There's nothing about any of these characters that I absolutely hate. And of course, Spider-Man. I like that one a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my feelings are about the rest Guardian? Oh, that I did not like because it was just so jokey slapstick. However, I did like that. And then I also liked the fact that they used music. And I don't know why, but somehow that element of using music throughout with his mixtapes made all the little farty fart jokes okay. I don't know. It Guardians of the Galaxies, I think is definitely of its own universe. So no pun intended or whatever, but I'm looking forward to the next one. It is definitely high up there for me, and I don't I see. I mean, and again, that's been kind of my problem. Like, I tried to watch the original Deadpool or the 2016 Deadpool before we started because I posted that story, and the only reason I cared was because of Donald Glover, and I think Donald Glover could do a much better job with the next version or the animated series if they'd given that a chance. But I don't know. I don't know about how I feel about that element of turning it all into a big joke, because it almost seems like, either you're making a joke or you're selling a toy, and I don't know, I feel like it takes you out of the story in a way.
This is Disney, so they're definitely trying to sell toys. But you're right. What's interesting to me is, first of all, when we get back to the very beginning of Iron Man, just being the first Marvel Cinematic Universe film, and what everything is built on was that movie. They could have tried to do 10 movies that were all that.
Yeah.
And in some ways they kind of did. But I think what's worked the most for the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that they've added in individual feelings for the different movies. The first Captain America movie, which has got that old school feel, which is done by a person who worked on Indiana Jones, but it's got that time quality of when it was, and it feels like the serial films and stuff that came out. Then you go into Winter Soldier, which is a political thriller. Then you go to Civil War, which is more like an Avengers movie because of the amount of characters in it. Guardians being the space cosmic stuff with a lot of jokes. Ant-Man being very jokey, but being a heist film. It's compelling because everything gets to be its own separate story. What is interesting to me is now how they're going to bring all of that together, because we are going to see the Guardians that have been very jokey interacting with, and it's not like Iron Man and the other movies haven't had jokes in them, but to see the Star-Lord character interacting with the Tony Stark character, with the Hulk character, with all these other things, and how that all mixes into what is still supposed to be taken very seriously in Infinity War, because Thanos comes in and basically can rip the whole universe apart potentially. That's going to be the key, is we've built all these different foundations. How do we bring it all up to this one point where it all makes sense and works together? And that's incredibly challenging. But still, if nothing else, if you're a person who's enjoyed Iron Man, you get 3 wonderful Iron Man movies and then Avengers stuff. If you're a person who liked Thor, you get 2 Thor movies and then Ragnarok and Avengers movies. You get Captain America movies and Avengers movies. You've got all these different choices. Now we've got Black Panther, who was part of Civil War, but is now also, his entire land is being integrated into Infinity War. You don't want to see Black Panther's whole universe get ripped to shreds when we've just discovered it and fell in love with it. So how do we make this all work in this next movie? That's incredibly exciting, incredibly intimidating. And you keep thinking, is Marvel ever going to drop the ball? There's certainly films that have been more successful than others. But when you're talking about this
If they're
gonna
this drop
could
the
be
ball,
the make or break.
It's probably going to be with Captain Marvel, just because, women. No, but I mean, that's our plight. But yeah,
but then that could have been the case with Black Panther. I just think about that. If Black Panther had been done in more of a blaxploitation way, or they had put so many white people telling Black Panther how to do things and stuff, and taken away his ability to be his own hero, if they had not involved so many strong female characters in it, there's a lot of things that Black Panther could have been that would have been just terrible. And we got this incredible example of a movie that I think heightens movie making for Hollywood, that shows not just the potential of Marvel films, but the potential of movies overall, of involving more people of color, involving more women, involving directors of color, all that stuff. It's such an incredible time because of things like that, because of Get Out coming out last year. Like, this is just such a feat that I don't think they would rest on their laurels to say, okay, now we're just going to do the movie that's got a woman in it and be okay with that, especially after DC did have such a huge success with Wonder Woman, and after we've had such failures as Catwoman and Elektra. I really think that it's important to them to at least get that first Captain Marvel movie out strong. And the same way of getting Black Panther out strong was important. But then there are things like Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange was a perfectly fine film, but wasn't anything super exciting. I think Ant-Man was a fun movie, but it wasn't like the make or break for Marvel. Those are the ones where they can say, yeah, it's going to be a good movie, and that's about it, because it's just another white superhero guy in this land of white superhero guys. But now that they've shown the potential of doing something incredible, I think that's what their aim is to keep hitting that incredible mark, and they're not going to step back and rest on things. They made Thor viable in his own movie in the third film.
Yep.
We could have gone without having a third Thor movie and just had him in Avengers like some of the other characters. But they finally took a chance and went with a new direction that was exciting and funny.
We had a Black Widow film.
Right. Yeah. And there's still talk that will hopefully happen. They're developing a Black Widow story in the comics now that could actually be moved over to a movie. Because the problem is the Black Widow has not carried a title very well over the decade she's existed. How do you make that into a good film? And honestly, I think we've had a really good Black Widow movie. I just think that it happened in the midst of the other Marvel movies that she's been in, because she has been consistently great in all these things, and she's an exciting character.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just that it didn't have her name on any of the titles.
I mean, and my God, like I've said this on multiple podcasts where I've talked about my thoughts on Marvel, but yeah, like she's Scarlet. It's played by Scarlett Johansson. I mean, what man, woman, child, beast doesn't want to see Scarlett Johansson? She's fucking Scarlett Johansson. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. She's great at every fucking thing she does. Why is there not a Black Widow film?
I completely agree with you. It is the fact that I think that there was trepidation, but I think that's a trepidation that they're quickly showing that they no longer have to hide behind.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because again, the success of some of these movies is well beyond what anybody could have expected and earned success. And I don't ever want to see them fall apart, but I certainly think that there are movies that are higher priority than others. And I think a Captain Marvel movie is a high priority. I think giving us a Black Widow movie is a high priority. And I love the whole movement of the actresses who play these different characters in these different films and say, hey, why don't we have a female Avengers movie? Just a purely team up of all these great women characters and women actresses that are here. Yeah. And they went up to Kevin Feige and they said, we think that this should happen. And how in the world is anybody supposed to look at them and say, no, you're wrong? They're absolutely right. It should happen. It needs to happen. And as a fan, I want it to happen. So maybe that's the thing.
Right on. Excellent.
And I will also say that you offended half of my tattoo by saying that if any movie is going to be bad, it'll be Captain Marvel, because that is what half of my tattoo is.
Greg, so yeah, let's establish this real fast.
I'm not baking it on it being because of the story, because I'm not really familiar. I'm not familiar with her story. I don't have her background. I haven't read her comics. I don't know her. But I'm just saying, well, she's the woman, so they're gonna fuck that up. You know,
it's funny though, because you're talking to Gregor. Gregor's tattoo is based off of two comics written by a female writer, Kelly Sue DeConnick. Now, Kelly doesn't write Captain Marvel anymore, but Gregor became a big fan of the character when she was writing it and followed her over to her other comic, Bitch Planet. And his tattoo is an amalgam of the Bitch Planet non-compliance symbol and the Captain Marvel logo etched into it. So it's very funny that this 20-something-year-old dude
29
has a symbol now permanently part of him that is based completely about empowered women by female creators. That's
awesome.
The thing is that this is a generation where
let's give you a cookie.
We are looking past the mistakes that have been made before and believing in something better. And it's not just we want to make a great female-led movie for women. It's we want to make a great movie that stars women about women for everybody.
Yeah.
And I believe that we have an audience now that can actually enjoy that and exist in that.
Hell yeah.
So I put in there in our doc, our hidden doc there, the link to the picture of it taken 8 days ago. That is my freshly shaven part of my arm. It is actually a little bit faded since then because I got a free touch up from where I got it. But yeah, it's cool that it's my first tattoo. I definitely like this as opposed to the other one that I was going to get in the beginning of the year. But yeah, Corey's hitting it right on the head as to why I got the tattoo. I mean, it was, I got into comics right around the time Kelly Sue DeConnick was writing Captain Marvel, and it was hearing him and Glenn Rubenstein talk about Kelly Sue, and then following her work over to Image with comics like Bitch Planet and Pretty Deadly, and I think there's another one I'm forgetting about. I know there is, and just being like, all right, this she's awesome. She's writing really great characters, telling really great stories for everyone, not just oh well, she's a lady, so she's going to write women comics. It's like, no, these are comics for everyone. And the fandom that has been behind it, with the Carol Corps and the Kamala clan, I think is the one for Kamala Khan, just from this, and it's just like, it's so cool to see. And this is the world that I want to live in, with where we're all getting along and all that stuff. And plus also it's really funny to explain the NC part, because people are like, is that DC? I'm like, no, it's an N. What does it mean? It's non-compliance from a comic book from Image Comics, when I'm at church, by the way. So it's like, swearing's a little bit frowned upon. It's like, so it's from a comic book called Bitch Planet where the prison inmates all get tattoos. But yeah, so that's a lot of the reasons why I got it, and I'm probably going to be getting a whole bunch more, and I have that addiction of tattoos now, and I'm like, yeah, it's just fun.
Right on.
Or as I like to call it, you have too much money.
No, actually, my friend paid for the tattoo, and I still owe him about $40 for it.
But just like if you're getting a tattoos every week, it's just like doing cocaine. You're making too much money, and someone needs to cut you off. No, that's a funny thing, is that almost everybody I know who gets tattoos, they almost all become addicted. My wife being one of them. I got one. I got it in my 30s, and it's still just the one. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's because it's honestly what it was is I thought it was going to hurt a lot. Like I had, I was probably like maybe 10 minutes away from getting a panic attack when I was sitting there, and they're like, I had to do all the things. Have you done this, that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, because it's not that I don't do well with shots. It's just that I think it's partially my family. Our veins are very not as that our veins are really good at playing hide and seek. I'll put it to you that way. So it's like I've been stabbed, jabbed with the needles multiple times. So I'm like, oh, we're just doing this, but really, really quick. And honestly, what it was is, and I'm going to use my other hand here since it's closer to camera. When they were tattooing here and here, I'm like, it tickles a little bit. Like, come on, quicker, get done quicker, because this is like tickling in a weird way. Yeah, I mean, it was cool, and I do think I will probably get more tattoos later on, but they're all going to have meanings. It's not just like, I got this one because, God paid me $50 to do it. It's not going to be anything like that.
I thought you said God paid you $50.
Oh, a guy.
Okay, not God though, or a God.
Like, just walk across like, poof, $50. What? Get a tattoo, and I'd be like, I'm going to buy comics.
Gotcha. Well, nicely done. Yeah, I have so many ideas for tattoos. One day, I don't know. One day I'll make them all happen.
I'll talk more about this later, like offline and stuff. But there's a couple ideas that I've had that would be really awesome if I got. But yeah. So B asked about Doctor Strange. Did you see Doctor Strange, Jackie?
Yes.
And what did you think of that one?
I very much enjoyed it. I enjoyed that it was, to me, it was much different than the other stories. And of course, Robert C. Cargill, who's our buddy, our pal in Diamond Club. So it was interesting, like, to think of it from that end as well. Yeah, it didn't feel like it fit into this larger story.
And that's sort of I think the other thing I like about the MCU is they're taking a page out of on Stephen Moffat's book with Doctor Who, where they're taking things and then they're expanding on them later to where you go, did they plan this for years? And with some of the things, it's like where they're referencing, like so much so with, like we talked about in the news earlier with Phil Coulson being in the Captain Marvel movie, where they hit on, people are pointing out, like from watching the first Iron Man, where he makes the line like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while. It's like, oh, wait, did they know this? Like, chances are no. It's just they're like, oh, well, hey, we have this little thing that could create an Easter egg that fans will go ape shit about and stuff.
Well, Black Mirror. Well, have you guys watched Black Mirror?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if Corey. I don't know if Corey's caught up though. No.
Okay, man. Oh man. Well, yeah. Anyways, Gregor, you should get on my Black Mirror podcast so we can talk about these. Like we've been trying to do a story uniquely on Easter eggs, but the progression of how that happened, that I definitely know that the story started out first they denied it up until this year, and I like to argue it was that Charlie Brooker listened to my podcast, where I literally outlined by looking at calendar dates on walls and stuff to find out. Yeah. But yeah, like there's a lot of that where there are Easter eggs that just kind of develop naturally, and you can tell that that's how that started, that it wasn't originally intended.
Like sort of like the TV show Psych, where they just put a pineapple in every episode. Like it just started, like it just happened, and I think they're like, okay, well now we got to put a pineapple here in more creative ways. So it's much like me. There's never an episode of ElseNerds where there's not a pineapple behind me.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I guess that's gonna do it here for us.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.